live in such a modern society. Past few years haven't been easy for us. This pandemic has lasted for 3 years now. There are intense global conflicts. Many people are worried about a third world war. It'll be the end of the world. There are also various ecological and psychological issues among people now, such as anxieties and depressions. This is mainly because of the development of our society in the past. Actually, it should be said that Western materialistic civilization has been dominating the world, so our whole world has been pursuing economic development. For our Chinese society, we've also gone from poverty to gradually attaining wealth. We used to think that as long as technology kept advancing and material wealth kept growing, we would surely live happy lives. Didn't we all think like that? So the whole world is developing this way. But this approach to development has gradually revealed the problems it brings. We humans are endlessly pursuing material development, leading to various environmental issues, social issues, and our psychological issues. Especially with the rise of AI, ChatGPT is incredibly powerful, and its capabilities far exceed our imagination. The emergence of AI has caused worldwide concerns. People worry it will threaten and replace us. Actually, we've already seen that AI is extremely powerful. It will inevitably replace many human jobs. What does this mean? It involves many people's job issues. For Chinese, or many people, work is not just a simple matter of survival. It also involves how to spend time every day, use up energy, and settle their mind and body. For many, work is realizing and proving oneself. But after all the proving, the robot can learn it in a second, right? Many also rely on work for spiritual support, because in our social development, many people focus on things like career success and status. They often pursue external achievements while neglecting personal issues. Sometimes we equate career success with life success. Success in status is seen as success in life, while we ignore personal issues. I think all people, regardless of who they are, whether Chinese or foreigners, rich or poor, with status or without status, anyway, everyone is human. So this means everyone has human problems. If human problems are not resolved, even if you have a high status, successful career, or a lot of money, you're still not happy. As we see the wealthy and powerful people, those with tens, or hundreds, or even thousands of billions, there are many of them. Are they truly happy? Not necessarily. So happiness is not just something external. More importantly, it is internal, an inner beauty. This is a more crucial factor. So after experiencing societal development, each of us needs to rethink a few questions I have posed recently. The first question is, what is the unique value of humanity? What's our unique value in this world? For example, compared to robots, many of our jobs can be replaced by robots. But what is our unique value? If we only do certain tasks, perform ordinary jobs, we may find that our life has no value. In today's society, a sense of meaninglessness is quite common now. This sense of meaning is from cultural heritage, the inheritance of traditional culture. For example, Confucianism values 3 immortals in life: establishing virtue, merit, and words, achievements in virtue. Merit and words are one's contribution to society, from personal moral achievements to contributions to society. It's the same for Buddhism, as it gives us the meaning of life by unlocking our inner awakening and helping us, along with others, move from delusion to awakening. If your meaning is based on this, or you have this meaning of life, will you lose your job? Of course not. Even if the world disappears, you won't feel life is meaningless. But why can't people find the meaning of life now? Because for us, our values are too pragmatic and utilitarian. Yet we base everything on the short-term goals before us, such as wealth, status, and also our possession of an environment, etc. These things are ever-changing. Compared with the changes now, we may feel the world was tranquil in the past. Person lived in a mountain village for decades, from birth to death. You may feel as if the world is static, right? But now, the world is truly ever-changing. So if we base this meaning and value on the external world, as the world changes, we won't find the meaning and value of life. So I just talked about the first unique value. The second is about the reflection on meaning. If we don't inherit the Eastern wisdom and cultures, that is, our Confucian, Buddhist, and Taoist culture, we can't find the meaning of life. The third question is how modern people should settle their mind and body. This is a big issue. Now, people are restless and anxious in body and mind. How to settle their minds? The minds of our ordinary people are constantly chasing outward, but the external world is ever changing, so we become anxious easily every day. We need to find a place that can truly bring us peace. Where exactly is it? Actually, each of us has a deep inner stability within our lives. It's like the ocean with its tumultuous waves, but deep in the ocean, the water is calm. You see, it's like the vast sky, even with thunder, lightning, and rolling dark clouds. The sky itself remains stable and serene. The sky itself is unmoving. So this means, what level are we living at? Our lives exist on multiple levels, encompassing both the finite and infinite, practical value and ultimate value, practical meaning and ultimate meaning. So, where do we exactly find peace of mind? We just recently conducted an intermediate tea course. During this intermediate tea course, I even wrote a calligraphy scroll for them. Dhyana tea room, if possible. We can create a dhyana tea room at home with a scroll that says, "Bring your mind, I'll put it at ease. How to find peace." This verse is very high end. Bring your mind, I'll put it one at ease. Where can we find peace? We can find it through drinking tea. But simply drinking tea is not enough. We need to imbue tea with Chan wisdom. When we drink tea with a Chan mindset, tea drinking becomes a very good way to find peace. So I think the world's development needs the value of Eastern wisdom. Our Confucian, Buddhist, and Taoist cultures are valuable in today's world development. I just talked about three major issues. To address the three major issues, the first is to know the unique value of humans. The second is to know the meaning of life. The third is to know how to settle the mind and body. In 2018, I had a dialogue with philosopher Zhou Guoping. The topic was, in the age of AI, where is humanity headed? This book was just published recently, a quick advertisement now. The first chapter of this book is, in the age of AI, where is humanity headed? So I believe the future world will be an era of Eastern wisdom. Why is that? Because this world needs Eastern wisdom and our Chinese excellent traditional culture, Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism. Take Taoism, for example. Its self-cultivation is very powerful because they pursue immortality. To achieve immortality, you need to cultivate your body well. In the past, many famous Taoists were also renowned doctors, such as Tao Hongjing and Sun Simiao. As for Confucian culture, it's about self-cultivation and being a virtuous person. Years ago, learning to a virtuous person was the theme of the World Congress of Philosophy, focusing on virtue and family relationships. Confucianism has 5 relationships: ruler and subject, father and son, brothers, husband and wife, friends. The Salistamba Sutra has 6 relationships. In this world, how one conducts themselves and how one interacts with others, this requires rules. Confucian culture sets these rules for us. As the great learning says, cultivate oneself, regulate the family, govern the state, bring peace to the world. Cultivate oneself sincerely and attain insight into the truth. This involves samatha and vipassana and meditation. Then it progresses to self-cultivation. Self-cultivation is the foundation and has 2 aspects. First, be a virtuous person, or even a sage or saint. Second, how to become a person who can truly benefit and contribute to society. So these 2 aspects are very good and align with Buddhism's goals. One involves self-awakening, and the other is awakening others. Self-awakening is to unlock our awakening nature within us by practicing precepts, meditation, and developing wisdom. Then we cultivate bodhicitta to benefit countless sentient beings and realize our loving kindness and compassion. However, in the context of Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism, the Confucian culture by itself does seem somewhat simpler, focusing solely on morality, yet lacks the wisdom of mind nature. Without such wisdom and an understanding of dependent origination and causality, morality alone is powerless. Often morality is seen as a social necessity, not a personal need. So people don't take it seriously. To address this issue, I recently published a book called Make It a Better Life. In this book, I talked with Mr. Zhu Hanmin, the head of Yuelu Academy, about how to establish one's mind and define the life mission. Before this lecture, I hadn't studied what it truly means, but since I needed to discuss it with him, I quickly learned about it. Then I sought out the common ground between Buddhism and Confucianism, as well as their differences. I soon found what's shared between Confucian culture and Chinese Buddhism. It's the mission that I mentioned earlier. They share the same life goals. Confucian culture aims to cultivate virtuous people, sages, and even saints, which is about benefiting oneself. To benefit others, one needs to manage the family, govern the state, and bring peace to the world. Jiang Zai once wrote 4 famous lines establish the mind for heaven and earth, establish a mission for the people, carry forward the lost teachings of past sages, and open the way to peace for future generations. Isn't it powerful? Even just reciting it can deeply inspire you and fill you with strength. What immense vision and great aspiration. Establish the mind for heaven and earth, establish a mission for the people. Let's think about the 4 great vows in Buddhism. Don't we feel empowered every time we recite them? Song Mingneo Confucianism was also influenced by Buddhism. So this is their common ground. The thought of inner sage, outer king in Confucianism means becoming a sage and also a bodhisattva, or awaken oneself and others. However, without Buddhist thought, there could be problems, as I noticed in the discussion. How do we link establishing the mind with defining one's life mission? It must be supported by dependent origination and causality. Without these, how do we connect the establishment of mind and life mission? We see that often in real life. Many people have a good mindset, but their lives are not smooth. Why? Without the concept of cause and effect across the 3 lifetimes, we can't explain it clearly. Many people admire Wang Yangming, who is very popular today. In fact, his theory of mind originated entirely from Buddhism. He attained enlightenment at Longchang, but he didn't fully understand Buddhism. He just grasped some aspects of Chan, but he didn't understand the teachings of bodhicitta. So he thought Buddhism was passive. What issue did I notice? Many people follow Wang Yangming, who advises us to start from daily life and apply attaining insight into the truth to daily life. To cultivate oneself, manage the family, and govern the state. But I found, for example, he attained enlightenment at Longchang. But has anyone following his teachings also attained enlightenment? Is there even a single case? Not a single follower of him has achieved enlightenment. So from Buddhist perspective, he took things out of context. However, in Buddhism, there are countless cases of enlightenment, because enlightenment is supported by a theoretical framework and a systematic method of practice. It's not that simple. The point I want to make is that Buddhist culture and Confucian culture, or these traditional cultures, are well blended like milk mingling with water. Confucian culture has its strengths, so has the Taoist culture. However, the profound wisdom of depth and breadth of Buddhist teachings are absent in Confucian and Taoist cultures. In today's world, whether it's self-cultivation, Confucian conduct, or the Buddhist study of mind, they're all very important for us because the world nowadays is quite problematic. Many have poor health or chaotic relationships. And our education overlooks moral conduct. From character to mind cultivation, there is a widespread deficiency. That's why various psychological issues and mental illnesses arise. So I feel that in today's era, it's crucial to pass down our Eastern wisdom, including our newly published A Life of Wisdom series. For decades, I've been focused on how Eastern wisdom can better serve society and individuals. This includes promoting mindful slow living, such as tea ceremony, Chan tea, health wellness, acupressure massage, and decluttering. We also have initiatives like vegetarian diet, book clubs, and more. Book clubs are surely not limited to reading my books. The Great Learning, The Doctrine of the Mean, and The Analects are also great reads. We will gather some students later to edit some teaching materials in this regard. Chinese culture focuses on self-cultivation and family harmony. Self-cultivation is for individuals. The strength of our society and country depends on the quality of its people. That is, everyone has a healthy personality and a sound mindset. I think this is where the hope of Chinese society lies. Where does this hope come from? It comes from the inheritance of culture. Think about it. I once gave a lecture called The Art of Awakening. I asked a question. How are the products of our life formed? Do you wish to be an ordinary product or a work of art? Creating even a very ordinary product in this world requires meticulous design. Yet it's not the case for our personality or something as precious as our inner quality of being. Before studying Buddhism, have you cared about what a life product is and how to create a better life product? Have you? I guess no one cared. Everyone cares about the external products. No one has ever cared about the product of life. Confucianism teaches us to be a moral person with benevolence, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, and trustworthiness. If one truly achieves these, it's wonderful. To be cordial, upright, courteous, temperate, and complacent. In fact, traditional Chinese education focused on morality. The 4 books and 5 classics are all about morality and good conduct. Yet, Confucian culture alone is not enough. The wisdom of Buddhism is also needed. These past literati and officials, such as Su Dongpo, Wang Wei, Bai Juyi, and Wang Anxi, were all devout Buddhists. They embraced the Confucian ideas of morality and worldly engagement, as well as the wisdom of Buddhism. Take Su Dongpo as an example. Among Chinese literati, his personality might be the most charismatic. On one hand, he had a concern for the country and the people. Yet, he repeatedly faced setbacks. While facing setbacks, he could always find joy in himself, maintaining a transcendent mind. He skillfully balanced worldly engagement and transcendence, thanks to his Buddhist wisdom. So without the Buddhist wisdom, some say Chinese people would suffer greatly, as transcendence is absent in Confucian culture. If you delve too deeply into worldly matters and obsess over fame, wealth, and status, it becomes a source of suffering, leaving you vulnerable to setbacks in life and disappointments in your career. Recently, President Xi had given an important speech about promoting and reviving Chinese culture. Someone sent me its framework. This speech is mainly about building socialism with Chinese characteristics by inheriting traditional culture. I think this is very important. As our society develops, the government is increasingly aware of this. So, as Chinese people, we're not simply defined just by our skin, eyes, and bloodline. In fact, what's even more important is the cultural bloodline, which includes Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism. In Chinese society, why is family a core subject? Managing family is to build a harmonious family at home. In the past, families of 4 or 5 generations could live together. Now, even 2 people can't get along. The past families had a grand presence, really like a large society. Families nowadays have many problems with children and couples. Many couples face various conflicts, infidelity, and divorce. How can elderly parents live their later years in peace? How to walk life's final journey well? All these are not covered by our education. Just as a country needs culture and spirit, what is China's spirit? I often ask this question too. What exactly is China's spirit? Many people don't have an answer. Actually, the spirit of China is represented by the spiritual pursuit of Chinese people. What's our spiritual world like? It's surely tied to Confucian, Buddhist, and Taoist cultures. Then, each family also needs culture. Without culture, everyone is self-centered, living in their own feelings, leaving no room for communication within the family, sitting around a table, yet their worlds are far apart. You're in your mobile, and I'm in mine. So lately, I've been advocating that every family, if possible, should have a dhyana tea room, whether large or small. In the past, some Buddhists had Buddha halls at home, but those can feel too religious. We can make a tea room instead. One reason it's hard to practice spirituality at home is the household chaos. So having a calm corner is important. You can spend time reading there daily and invite family, friends, or colleagues over regularly to enjoy tea, read, talk about wellness, practice Badwanjin or Tai Chi, or even try the mindfulness ball. I almost forgot about this one. This is also worth promoting. I promoted it before, but forgot about it amidst all the other projects. Then we can get together. For example, our recent vegetarian project explores family vegetarian diet. You can invite relatives and friends every week to have a vegetarian meal at your home. They would be delighted to join. After the meal, you could read together, creating an opportunity for your relatives and friends to connect with each other. Otherwise, there's no connection. I believe we should pass on traditional Chinese culture to build family-centered ecological circles. Families are the fundamental units of society. Businesses too need culture. For instance, businesses can establish mindfulness tea rooms, just as families can have home-based tea rooms, and cities can create urban tea rooms. Without culture, a business is merely a collection of individuals, gathered solely for profit. However, with a dhyana tea room, employees can gather regularly for tea and engage in mindfulness meditation. It is now popular worldwide. Experts from Peking University and Beijing Normal University were at West Garden Monastery years ago. We hold a forum every 2 years called the Buddhism and Psychotherapy Forum. We invite psychology experts from various universities to discuss topics like mindfulness, death, anxiety, and how mindfulness, Buddhist wisdom, and traditional culture can address modern psychological issues. So, how can we bring traditional culture into every family? It starts with each of us taking responsibility for passing on China's rich traditional culture. In doing so, we create an atmosphere in which we grow personally as well. In the end, who benefits the most? It's you. By establishing a collective karmic system, the goodness you nurture in this life will create an environment of harmony in your next. In spreading and carrying forward such culture, we elevate ourselves. Otherwise, what grows instead? Our greed, anger, and ignorance, leaving us to waste our lives in chaos. I often feel that impermanence comes swiftly, and time waits for no one. The world today is increasingly fragile and unpredictable, and Buddhist practice must begin with each moment and each person around us. We must serve the people around us well, as they are all karmically connected to us. However, those around us are the hardest to deal with. Why? Because home is where we are most relaxed, where we are most careless, where we let bad habits surface, and where we reveal our truest selves. Outside, at book clubs or passing on the lamp of wisdom, we present ourselves as bodhisattvas. But the moment we return home, our unfiltered selves emerge. This is why influencing family members is so difficult. It is where we find it hardest to practice. Instead of seeking faults in others, we must first reflect on ourselves and learn to cultivate mindfulness in every moment. Take the two charts we've been advocating recently. Are you familiar with them? Some of you may be, and some may not. One is the Mindfulness Daily Journal. The other is Altruism Weekly Journal. Have you seen the Mindfulness Bell? It carries two classic maxims, written by a very famous master. Do you know what they are? Mindfulness is the best anchor in life. Compassion is humanity's best companion. Mindfulness is the best anchor for humanity. What is your best reliance? From mindfulness to awakening, this is the ultimate reliance. In the end, what sustains you is what's within you. Learning Buddhism isn't about asking bodhisattvas for blessings to ensure a smooth life. It's about building the ability to face change calmly and remain unaffected no matter what happens. While external conditions, such as the support and service you've experienced in your studies, may bring happiness, they are not dependable. Oh, even the disbanding of the three-stage practice is a test from the bodhisattvas. Was your practice driven by external comforts, or did it truly strengthen you internally? If you've really grown stronger, change won't bother you, because the methods for practice are still there. Ultimately, learning is an individual responsibility. Did we arrive in this world together with companions? Perhaps, but even if so, we are unaware of it. When we leave, will we have company? No, we leave alone. Can anyone replace you when you face daily troubles? Can your fellow practitioners take your place? Can someone else eat or go to the restroom for you? No. These are things only you can do yourself, just like drinking this cup of tea. I must drink it myself. Could you drink it for me? Cultivation ultimately depends on oneself. External environments are just supportive conditions. As long as we adhere to laws and regulations, the responsibility for cultivation lies with you. Is it my responsibility? No. It's yours. As a Dharma master, my role is to focus on how to better preserve and pass on our excellent traditional culture and provide better products for society and methods for learning Buddhism for more people. Over the past few decades, I've given numerous lectures during my efforts to spread the Dharma. Actually, I just do two most important things. First, using Buddhist wisdom to solve modern problems. I've categorized the areas I've been concerned with, and there are about a dozen or even 20. These range from education, psychology, art, design, morality, and faith to global and public health issues, almost everything. I believe that this wisdom holds unique value in our modern world. What we provide is a Buddhist perspective. This perspective is elevated in its depth and breadth, whether it's for modern-day China or the world at large, or for all humanity. We're facing various problems today. How to Solve Them with Eastern Wisdom. Many of you may have read these books. Let me ask you this. Before you started learning Buddhism, did you ever approach problems with such a perspective? Most people wouldn't. Every day we're busy with work, money, family, daily necessities, business dealings, love, conflicts, and so on. Occasionally we might fleetingly wonder, what's all this busyness really for? What's the meaning of life? Those who are somewhat wise might let these thoughts emerge briefly, but they're often quickly buried under the busyness of life. That's why we provide content like this. We've compiled the book series, A Life of Wisdom. Now 6 volumes have published. There are 10 books in total, with 4 more to come. I believe this represents my contribution, or I should say the contribution of Buddhist wisdom to the world. Second, I want to guide people in their study and practice. I witnessed too many practitioners, monastics, and lay people spend decades learning Buddhism, but remain unclear about its essence. So, I hope to help everyone quickly grasp the essentials of the Bodhi path. How does one walk the path of Bodhi? What is the key to practice? We construct places of practice and develop systems for study and practice, including apps like Bodhi Navigation and Ocean of Life, aiming to make cultivation less daunting and to empower everyone to become the master of their own lives. Life, like a product, is composed of various elements. I can make an active choice for myself. I have the power to decide what kind of life I want to create. Isn't that amazing? Tell me, is there anyone in this world who doesn't wish to become better? Of course not. But what do we typically strive for? Perhaps more money, higher status, or a wardrobe full of beautiful clothes. Beyond that, we might focus on grooming or applying makeup. If those aren't enough, we turn to plastic surgery, raising our noses, lengthening our legs, causing every cell in our body to be uneasy. This is very pitiful. What do we pursue? As a Chinese, we strive for something deeper, to become people of virtue. In ancient China, beauty didn't specifically refer to women, but to a virtuous person. Be a virtuous person. True beauty lies in virtue. A person may be physically attractive, but with poor character, temper, and mindset, the appeal may not last over 3 days, right? That's why inner beauty holds timeless charm. But for the countless people in the world without great wisdom in life, how can they make themselves better? All they can do is focus on superficial things. I've noticed that many of our followers, before studying Buddhism, were probably like most people, dressed fashionably, heavily accessorized, and carrying all sorts of bags. But after learning, they seem to lose interest in those. Now I see everyone dressed the same. Or is it just because you're here at the temple? But I believe many of you have adopted a more modest lifestyle. You're no longer chasing after material possessions, which also means your expenses have decreased. That's why sometimes people feel less motivated to work. Because saving money is making money. You don't need as much anymore. Instead, you can use your time to help others and learn for yourself, growing personally while benefiting others. Why earn so much money if you don't need it? Our meditation pants and shirts cost only 100 to 200 yuan. Plus, our temple also give them as gifts. So life doesn't need to be complicated. Our Chinese speak of cherishing blessings, which has deep meanings. We used to think it was outdated, but now realize it's truly advanced. The earth is a shared blessing for all humanity, and this blessing is finite. When we talk about environmental protection, yes, your wealth belongs to you individually, but the earth's resources belong to everyone. From this perspective, wasting is actually a sin because it depletes the shared blessings of humanity. But under the influence of capitalism and consumerism, people are constantly encouraged to consume. Businesses, driven by this commercial wave, keep fueling human desires. You see, many businesses produce billions of clothes every year, selling 3 billion this year, 6 billion next year, 12 billion the year after. But do people really need that many clothes and shoes? Many people already have piles of shoes, yet keep buying more. We always pursue what we don't have while neglecting what we already do. That's why we need to advocate decluttering. Decluttering means living a simple and modest life. Think about the kind of life modern people are chasing. It's a material life without spiritual depth. So what kind of life should we pursue? A life rich in spiritual meaning, a quality life. This means building a healthy lifestyle. We need to use the wisdom of Chan and this mindful and slow way of living to serve those around us, to make our lives healthy and our mindfulness grow every day. Now, sitting here, we feel that meditation is not easy. Our legs hurt, mind scatters, thoughts run wild, and we feel drowsy. But the mindfulness we advocate in meditation is actually quite simple and accessible for everyone. It's both straightforward and effective. As long as you keep practicing, you'll gradually notice your mind transitioning from muddled to clear, from powerless to powerful. The scattered mind will lose its grip, and your mind will naturally remain in a state of clarity. This clear and uncontrived mind is something we all have. It is not far from us. On one hand, through study and practice, we create a positive inner environment for ourselves, taking refuge, bodhicitta, altruism, and right views are all important foundations. But ultimately, practice comes down to two key points: mindfulness and altruism. These are the two core pillars of practice, 3 stages of mindfulness and altruism. On a personal level, this practice framework is very important. The 2 charts are also vital. As long as we have these secret weapons, no matter where we are, with fellow practitioners or on our own, we can always learn. Of course, having companions and a supportive environment can empower and motivate us. We have 2 models. One is study and practice, the other is serving others. Serving others can start right at home by caring for the people around us. But equally important is that we must align with laws and regulations. Loving our country and following the rules are fundamental. These are particularly important. As citizens, everyone has the freedom to choose their beliefs or not to believe at all. Of course, we all hope to be a lamp, to light up more people's inner lamps, illuminating the inner light of awareness in others. So we must cultivate the bodhicitta, bringing more light, hope, love, and awakening to the world. Because today's world is interdependent.
Just as President Xi described it, a community of shared destiny, We're all bound together, living on this small planet. Have you seen those astronomical photos taken from billions of light years away? Earth is unimaginably tiny, a mere speck. Yet, we're right on it, through space, at hundreds of kilometers per second, into the infinite unknown. We may feel as though we're sitting still, but that's only because we're so unaware. Thankfully, our dull senses shield us from constantly feeling the speed. Otherwise, life would be unbearable. You see, I was very happy to have talked to you for such a long time today. I've taught you a class.